Well, hello everyone, happy Friday evening, welcome back to the Magnificent Marks channel. You join us down here in Whitley Bay, around the Briar Dean. And yes, hope you've all had a fantastic week. Once again, it is Matchday Eve, and despite the reverse of Villa Park, I think we'll have come full circle. Yes, because the last video I'd done down here in Whitley Bay was, I believe, Christmas Day, before we played Villa on Boxing Day. So yeah, better result that time, not so last Saturday, but I'm bouncing into the weekend. I hope everyone else is, and the great news is, as confirmed, Eddie Howe is back. We've all been worried about him, and his health obviously is the most important thing. He is back, and you trust that he is back, although he said that he's not 100% in his body. He is almost there in his mind, and you've got to trust that he knows his body. And obviously the club doctor, Paul Catterson, who's seen him, who came round to his house, it was confirmed, and recommended he go to hospital. They have cleared him, and obviously the fantastic staff at the RVI. It's great that they've helped the manager out, and he's almost back to work, clean bill of health. But he wouldn't be back if they hadn't basically given the all clear. And you know what he's like, he is a bit of a workaholic, and he's even admitted himself, well, he wasn't there mentally to watch the two games where we beat Manchester United and Crystal Palace. He has watched all the games, being proud of his players, the job that Jason Tyndall, Graham Jones, Simon Weatherston and Stephen Purchase have done in his absence. And it's surprisingly, which I'm shocked at, he says he's been hands off. But yes, the result at Villa Park might have expedited his return, maybe hastened things up, because it wasn't a good performance. But you know what? As I've said, Villa deserved it. So yes, Eddie Howe was back. Absolutely delighted with that, because I feel we missed his influence on the touchline on Saturday evening, and him being back tomorrow, not that we needed a lift anyway, we're playing a team in the bottom three who are all but down, but the fact that Eddie Howe is there is fantastic news. It'll give the crowd an extra lift, give his coaching staff a lift, and more importantly, he'll give those 11 players on the pitch a lift, and the rest of the squad. Of his influence in Villa Park, just got to say that while I said that we're missing his influence on the touchline, I don't think it would have changed the result. I just feel, just to close this off, because I don't want to go on about it, I just want to concentrate on a more winnable game this weekend. It's just that a defeat was coming eventually, especially to Villa. We beat them 5 times in 6 games, now 5 in 7. We're probably due a defeat to them, and you know what? I just feel if Eddie was there, he might have made it a bit more compact, maybe 5 at the back. Now, I know you really don't want to change a winning team, but he could have had players in there. He could have maybe brought Emil Kraft in. We know Sven Botman's almost back, but Emil Kraft maybe could have come into a back 5 as an additional centre back. Because the way we play, it's only Kieran Trippier pushing up, Livramento. So they push up, but they're the only ones in the defence with pace. So what happens is the centre-back split and Sandro Tonali drops in there. But what Villa done well, and credit to them, Unai Emery's a great manager, he's done his homework, is just the put a player on Trippier, that left Murphy isolated, and then he put Kamara on Joe Linton, and our tactics seemed to be play lots of long balls to Joe Linton, but Kamara was aggressive, he gave him a right battle, which not many players do or brave enough to do all game. And yeah, they just hit me with pace, and that Fabian Schär hasn't got the pace, neither's Burn or Trippier, so the attack were numbers, and it was just a case of Watkins got in there in the physical battle, Spahn ran in behind, he always had a runner with him, so the defence couldn't cope, and yeah, destroyed her. As I said in my quick summary video, it's just one I've posted online. Yes, the first goal was a fortunate deflection for them, and the third one, when it went off Dan Burn. But you know what, when you're playing well and you're creating chances, you make your own luck, and that's basically what we've done against Palace. We got a couple of deflections, so yeah, it's just one of those, fair play to Villa, and it's one of these where you just accept it, the better team won, and you learn from it. And you know what, I feel like in terms of the games we had remaining, especially away from home, that would have been one of our 2 hardest. Obviously, out of remaining away games, Villa, Brighton and Arsenal. Villa and Arsenal were the 2 that I'd say I'm not confident we're winning. It's because, look, I'm not saying that fatigue is an excuse. The difference is Villa have the players to change it, so we had to go with the same squad. Now, obviously, it's a winning squad, and they've been playing really well, so we went unchanged for a 7th game in a row. Tomorrow, we could go unchanged for an 8th game in a row, but we might freshen it up. But the difference is, I'm not buying played the day after Villa. Villa gave it their all against PSG, and they still performed. But you can't say yes. A little caveat is that they have players in there, like they could start a fresh Ollie Watkins, who had a point to prove after he's basically not been in the picture since they brought Marcus Rashford in. So he had a point to prove. And then the subs that they could bring on, Anana, he scored the 4th goal, a fantastic finish. So yeah, the difference is Villa have got the depth, and our squad, not just recently, but for a long time now, have been performing brilliantly. And it was just one of those that came too far. But as I said, Villa deserved to win it. It could have been 5-6 or even 7-1. They had that many chances. I was happy we won 1 at half time. But Eddie Howe's back. He'll have watched it back. We'll learn from it. And then we'll go again tomorrow against Ipswich. Now, just before I get into the preview for Ipswich tomorrow, just a couple other bits of news. So, Baran Yildiz, the midfielder, it's been confirmed that he has signed a 4.5-year deal till to around June 2029. He's the midfielder. He's £2 million. He's had work permit issues. We've got him for £2 million from his hometown team of, I think you pronounce it, Genkleur. If that's wrong, please comment and say your pronunciation was horrendous. So if I didn't enunciate that properly, please do correct us. Other news, Oliver Goodbrand, he's the left back. He's been in Rangers, his team, for a while now. He's played in their BT and he's close to a professional contract, but he's going to reject that, and the news is that we're going to sign him, and obviously he'll go into our academy team, so that'll be a good signing. Again, unlike the Ashley days, we are strengthening our youth teams, we're under, so yeah, he's one to look out for who's coming in. Now, another player that has been mentioned is Liam Delap. We'll probably get a good look of him tomorrow. I'll be watching with interest if he does play. He didn't play in the reverse fixture at Portman Road. I was there. That was a great away trip, I've got to say. He didn't play against it that day, but we won 4-0. It was Alexander Isak's one and only hat-trick. But Liam Delap has had, I believe it's a rib injury. So yeah, he's not been playing recently, but I agree with what others have said. He's not the quickest, but he's a powerful runner. He can carry the ball. He's physical, and what he has got more than anything, which is key for a striker, is an eye for goal. And yes, you've got to weigh it up. Do I think he might sign? If he wants first team football and playing regularly, no, I won't blame him for that. But you know what? Like next season, he will get chances. We'll have obviously 4 competitions. He could learn off Alexander Isak, the world's current best striker, not just Europe, the world's, all the leagues, the world's, I believe. Even though he's looked a little off lately and been quiet, not moving properly, he's still the best. And yes, he'll get chances next season. Eddie Howe develops players. It says his club have been interested in a project in us, but again, he might be put off because Alexander Isak will always be number 1 as long as he's here. So we'll watch that with interest. And then obviously there's been the news, I think it was Fabrizio Romano saying that Lewis Miley's had interest from other clubs, but Eddie Howe shut that down today. Because look, we were stung last year when we lost Elliot Anderson, let alone Yankuba Minta, because Yankuba Minta never played for us. So yes, he played at Feyenoord, but in terms of Lewis Miley, he's technical, he's mature, he's passing, he's awareness, he's a great, tidy little midfielder for his age. Only 18, and the fact that his maturity that he showed, especially last season when he came into games like away to PSG in the Parc de France, he's not a player you want to lose. So I'm glad Eddie Howe shut it down. Yes, we've got arguably the best midfield in the league. It doesn't matter what happened at Villa. Off days happen. I still believe we do. And he can't get it at the moment. But again, it's like when I go back to Liam Delap. he will get chances next season because we're in so many competitions. So yes, Lewis Miley, anyone who's thinking of going for him, I'd just be like, forget it. He's got a chance next season. All players will. There'll have to be rotation. And obviously we'll have a big summer. Might be more competition going in, but he's got the quality to start games. Now, one thing I did forget to mention is, yes, Ipswich, we know they're all but down. We can confirm that tomorrow if they don't win, but because a ridiculous set of circumstances has to happen. But this ties in with Liam Delap. Obviously, if they get relegated, his release clause is 30 million. So, yeah, we'll see what happens with that. See if we do trigger it. But yeah, Ipswich would need an unfathomable turnaround to stay up. I believe they'd have to win all the remaining games, which they haven't managed to do this season. They've won 3 away, but they've only won 1 at home, and yes, they're away tomorrow against us. But yeah, with them, Delap, we'll see. But their turnaround in results would have to be win all these remaining games by 2 or 3 goals to 0, and West Ham would have to lose all theirs by the same score lines, and then Ipswich would stay up on goal difference. So look, they're all but down, and in Ipswich's last 11 games at St James's Park, they've won none, drew 5, and lost 6. But an interesting stat that I did see, there's the Bobby Robson derby. Last time we beat them was 1973, 1974. And who were Ipswich being managed by? One Sir Bobby Robson. But obviously it's a club that he's managed both of who respect him massively. He's done wonders for both. Obviously he didn't win anything for us, unfortunately, which he would have loved more than everything I think he would have achieved at Ipswich. Obviously he won them the FA Cup, he won them the UEFA Cup. He had them in league title challenges, 1969 to 1982. That's unheard of. 13 years at a club, especially these days. Obviously, we're hoping Howe's were new, like Robson or Ferguson. But yes, 1973, 1974. So it's been 51 years. That's incredible. But after a 4-0 win at Ipswich back in December, hospitable fans. I wish them well in the Championship next season because they are down. But yeah, obviously, we want to win. Now, just to go into some stats, Ipswich have dropped the most points from winning positions this season, 27. We've actually dropped the least of any team, would you believe it? Only 7. And Alexander Isak has 15 goals in 14 games against promoted sides. Now, I know this wasn't Eddie Howe. I don't like kind of like going back to teams from years ago, different players. In like different results, but just one thing I do remember in my teenage years, I was probably 14 or 15, 2001-2 season, and I remember in the run-in for Champions League, Shearer had 2 goals disallowed that day, but it was shared by the club yesterday, Lon Robert's free kick, but that was a 2-2 draw against Ipswich. Fortunately, which I hope it doesn't happen tomorrow, another draw, it was a 2-2. Yeah, Shearer did have 2 goals disallowed. His third time lucky was eventually with his header at the Gallagher end, was given. But yeah, it just shows these games aren't a given. It should be on paper, but like I said, Ipswich have won 3 away from home this season and only 1 at home. So they could cause with some issues, but yeah, I don't like going back to that, but I can go back to 2 seasons ago because this was an Eddie Howe team. And in 2022, 2023, we only lost 1 game out with last 8 after we last lost away at Aston Villa. We came back and smashed Spurs 6-1. Then we won 4-1 at Goodison with Isak's ridiculous mazy dribble. And then we won at home 3-1 to Southampton after they'd taken the lead. So it just shows that we can respond. And this season, we've won every game after a result where we've lost by 3 or more goals. So it bodes well. But it's just more a case of which Ipswich will turn up tomorrow, as well as which Newcastle. Because will they accept that they're down, be sorry for themselves, and just roll over, or will they be like, the weight's off, we're relegated, we've been put out with misery, they've known it since December really, and they'll be like, right, we've got nothing to lose, we'll try and upset the apple cart and try and derail Newcastle's Champions League bid. But like I've said in previous videos, all these games now are just about the result. And I feel we've got a better chance in our home games well, we're next couple of home games because Chelsea's massive. But what I'd say is I'm going to Brighton next weekend for over the bank holiday. I'm looking forward to it. I went to the last one when we lost 3-1. But again, I'd rather get 3 wins out of these next 3 games than be relying on going to the Emirates. Now, I know we've won there this season. They mightn't have anything to play for by the time we play them, because I don't like looking ahead, but Arsenal, at that time, they could either be in the Champions League final and buoyed by that, because the title's done when they drew to Palace the other night, but they could be out of Europe altogether. The title's done. They'll have just went Anfield after the second leg against PSG, and then they've got us. So we'll have to see what happens then. There's lots of permutations. And like when we play Chelsea, that's a massive game. They play Forest the last game of the season, like Man City against Villa the other night. A lot of teams around each other still have to play each other. So it's not a given that anything's done yet, but it's just about us. And if we can get these wins, then we've just got to take care of it ourselves rather than worrying about anyone else.
Hello, as you might have noticed, I've came back home just to finish off the last bit of the video. So just got to say one last thing before my prediction. Grace Donnelly, Newcastle United women's goalkeeper, she plays a final game for the club at home at Kingston Park against Birmingham City, 2 o'clock kickoff this Sunday. She is a legend. She's won 2 promotions with the women's team. She's won the Manager's Player of the Year, Players Player of the Year, 2 Golden Gloves, 140 appearances. So yeah, bona fide legend for the women's team. She signed her first pro contract, I believe it was 2023. Obviously the women's team turning professionals, and she's helped establish the team in the women's championship this season in their inaugural season. So good luck to Anne, whatever she does next. So predictions, well, I think Ipswich will come up with they'll try and frustrate, sit in a low block, but I just believe it's a matter of time with quality, intensity and pressing, and the home crowd, Eddie Howe being back, it'll all win through. As soon as we get that first goal, whether it be early on or we just have to be patient, we'll break them down. They won't be to keep out, and we'll go on and I'm going to commit to a 4-0 win. So yeah, that's my predictions. And I do believe Murphy will tie level with Lauren Robert's, I was going to say Alexander Isak, with Lauren Robert's tally of 11 assists back in 2001-2. And Isak will get back on the score sheet as well. Because like I said, he wasn't really in the game at Villa Park, but this is the prime opposition waiting just add to his tally. I mean, he scored a hat-trick, didn't he, in the reverse fixture at Portman Road. But anyway, that's it from me for now. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. I hope you all have a fantastic weekend. I hope we get 3 points. And I'll be back with a quick review after the game tomorrow. And then I'll do my full review on Sunday, discussing it more in depth. But take care. Bye-bye.